So what I'd like to share with you today is really you can lose as much weight in days as in weeks with a brand new, well, it's based on something that would be completely new to you. It was invented by the top weight loss nutritional researchers in the entire world. So straighten out my tie here. There we go. Anyway, to make a long story short, you can literally now safely lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on in your lifetime. People, men and women, lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet ever studied. Women lost a whole dress size. Men lost 2 to 4 inches off their waist just in 7 days. In a month, they lost as much weight as a year on diets. And everything I'm sharing with you today is backed by peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. If you're not familiar with those, it's the highest level of scrutiny in the medical world. Like no drug ever gets approved unless it goes through on human beings trials that are then validated by third parties that say yay or nay as to what you're claiming. We have 10 I didn't do them. The researchers who for 40 years have done 100 studies, thousands of people, and figured out why every diet you're on is doomed to failure. It's so bad that there's a big study saying that 2/3 of people who go on diets by counting calories gain back more weight than they lost. Did you know you're going on a diet to gain weight? Now, the point is that this is 100% safe. That's it. I didn't invent it. I'm the researcher of the research. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've written 4 best-selling books, 20 times on PBS, and literally did over 1,500 live lectures around the world. So the point is that you're all in a position to really learn something today. So Sweet Pea, Sulfur, Renee, Rosemarie, Beckley, I'm all saying hi to all of you. I'm going to show you these before and after pictures. You will swear they're Photoshopped. I swear on my kids' lives and grandkids, they're not Photoshopped, but you will think they are. Look at this. 30 days, 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches. Look at her arms, look at her stomach, abdomen, and waist. Look at how much her body changed. By the way, no one in these studies was allowed to exercise, okay? And it's completely safe because instead of losing lean muscle, the people in these studies gained 6 to 9% lean muscle despite they weren't even allowed to exercise. Now this one, that's exactly 5 weeks. Look at the difference in those two pictures. Look at her neck, arms, stomach, and legs. Now you could say, oh, she held her stomach in, but you can't hold your legs in and your neck and all that kind of stuff. That's exactly 5 weeks. So in about 30 some pounds she lost in 5 weeks. Curtis lost an astounding 40.8 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. And before you think that's the best part of his story, look at the bottom. The A1C, his blood sugar went from 8 point. How did they do this? What did they do? Okay, so first, I have to blow up everything you've ever been thought about dieting. It has nothing to do with calorie counting. A calorie is just a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius, nothing less, nothing more. What your body craves for is not calories. The reason we eat food, I know it tastes good, but the only reason we eat food is for the nutrition inside the food. And we have a minimum amount of nutrition that we run on every day that runs the brain, the heart, the kidney, all our organs, right? With the brain sort of the master control center. Well, think about what you're really doing on a diet. You can disagree with me if you want, but why? You're lowering the amount of food you're consuming. I don't care whether it's time-restricted eating or paleo or keto or Mediterranean. At the end of the day, that's what you're doing. But did they ever tell you when you lower the amount of food, you're also lowering the amount of nutrition? When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition via fuel, what does it do? It slows down your metabolism. And not just your metabolism like when you're working out, but something called your basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which you burn calories like now. Maybe you're sitting in front of your computer or sitting in a chair or when you're sleeping, okay? But the other thing it does is even worse. It also slows down your own immune system. So the very diet you're on to fit in those skinny jeans is doing something to you and making you unhealthy. I'm sure this is shocking to most of you. I'm going to read just from a couple of studies that validate what I'm saying to you. Let's start first with Harvard Medical School. I'd say most people would agree that's a pretty great source. Listen to the title of this study, Stop Counting Calories. They said the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is antiquated and just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, says Stanford. It's time to take a different approach by concentrating on what's inside the food, not how much food we're consuming. Exactly to the point of what these researchers did. I promise in a second I'll explain to you how can you lose as much weight in a week as in 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. That's the point of the whole thing. Oh, we're having computer problems again. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm going to go offline for just a second. I'll be right back because I need to fix this camera. Okay, I'm back now. So again, this was done by Tracy Mann. You can look it up. University of Minnesota, 25 years of looking at diets, and they came up with 3 conclusions on these mass amount of diets that they analyzed over 25 years. 1, every diet, people lost weight. Yay, that sounds great. Number 2, which is not so good. When they did the measurements, they found that up to between 25 and 40% of the weight people were losing on diets was lean muscle mass. So let's say you lost 20 pounds, 40%, 8 pounds was lean muscle mass. But number 3, they did have a 100% money back guarantee to all the diets they studied. You know what that was? That the people gained weight 100% of the time. You understand the diet you're on right now, you're doomed at minimum come back to where you started, but you're going to end up gaining more because you've slowed your metabolism down. It's not like you go back to eating healthy and you turn your metabolism back up. It doesn't work like that. Do you all remember the show The Biggest Loser from a few years ago where those people lost like 120, 130, 150 pounds? Do you know they did a follow-up study like 5 years ago? And every one of those people had gained back all their weight, and when they measured their metabolism, it had been reduced by up to 25%. Yeah, they lost the weight in the most unhealthy way. You don't want to lose lean muscle mass. It's really unhealthy. And that's what you're doing on every single one of these diets. What I don't get is Fortnite boy, I'm saying hi. What I don't get is the fact that you all have, see above my head, the New Health Conversation? That's a free medical proof website. There's nothing to buy there. We won't contact you if you go there. But you can go and see medical proof. Not opinions, not an infomercial. You're following these people on social media. All they're giving you is opinions. I see someone with 1 million followers telling you down the wrong road. Oh my gosh, it's not going to work. It doesn't work. It can't work. It won't work. I mean, let me go to another one of these big studies. What did I do with it here? I know I've got it somewhere. Just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, here's a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It was 48 studies, 7,286 people, 12 months. The title is Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs in Overweight and Obese Adults. Keep in mind, I'm not giving you my opinion on any of this. If you think I'm giving you my opinion, you are totally wrong. I'm giving you medical proof of why you want to reconsider stopping what you're doing now and maybe sit up and listen to what we've now, not we, but the researchers found. But let's look at this first. So they did a 12-month study, and all the popular diets they named, and they compared the most amount of weight loss in a year to the least amount of weight loss was only 10 ounces in a year, and the average weight loss on all these diet plans in a year was 16 pounds, and up to 40% was lean muscle mass. This almost 7,300 people. What do you think? You're going to beat the odds? I mean, this whole thing is just, it's complete and utter insanity. What we're doing, what we've been told, and none of it works. Now let's talk about the shots, and I'm not against the shots. They're helping diabetics, they're helping obese people, but I'm a researcher. So let's look at what the New England Journal of Medicine, again, you can look this up, once weekly semaglutide adults, overweight and obese. 68-week study, that's a year and 4 months. The average weight loss in that time frame was 32 pounds, and right in the study, 40% of the weight they lost was lean muscle mass. Now, I'm working with a lot of people on the shot that are terrified about losing lean muscle. We're helping them not to lose lean muscle. But the people that are coming off the shot for whatever reason, they're gaining up to a half a pound a day. I mean, you understand what the shot does. It slows the food moving through your digestive tract longer, so you're full longer. But at the end of the day, you're consuming less food, which means you're consuming less nutrition. Does this make sense to all of you? Do you get it? Do you see what's going on? It's just, hold on. I don't know what's going on with my camera here. I'm having technical difficulties for some reason. Okay, hold on. Okay, now I'm back. So here's the point. What did the researchers do? How did they do this? That's all. That's really what you want to know. So what they did, they said on all diets they'd ever studied was some form of lowering the amount of food they consumed. So they said, well, if we're going to lose weight, we still need to give people less food. But can we give them less food, but give them more nutrition? That's the simple principle that they had to figure out. So what they did, they limited the food to the people in these studies, 30%. You'd get a grocery list of fats, proteins, carbs, et cetera, that you'd take to your grocery store. The other 70%, these researchers, they don't sell it, they didn't find it. They found other researchers who'd gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to get foods with huge amounts of nutrition, which the researchers said for the first time ever they constructed the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint of view. So those were what people consumed. Then this is what they did. 5 days a week, they let people have 4 meals a day. 4. Unheard of. They started with the world's most perfect meal. They had lunch from the grocery store list. They had dinner from the grocery list. And they had a 4th meal 5 days a week. 2 days a week, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting. And so, or time restricted eating. What they were doing on those days, no food from the grocery store, only these 5 foods from around the world, again, 4 times a day. So they were fasting with nutrition. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what they did. And what were the results? And after the first 7 days, men and women had lost as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on. They lost as much weight in a month as people. Well, I can tell you right away, I read that big study. They lost 16 pounds in a year in this study of this 48 different studies and 7,200 people. These people lost 16 pounds in a month, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. There's nothing like this on the planet. And the main reason to do it is not even to lose weight. The main reason to do it is because you and me and everyone has this medical syndrome. It's called TDOS. The T for toxicity, the D for deficiency of nutrition, overweight, and stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Yes, I did discover it, but I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just telling you what's going on. So here's what we now know. We're drinking, breathing, and we're eating chemicals the body's taking and storing in our fat cells. Did you all see the thing from a week ago? They're now finding microplastics in our brains and in our coronary arteries. Does that sound good to you? Doesn't sound too good to me. And in these studies, what they did blood, they did stool, they did urine, and they did fat analysis, proving that this protocol was helping the body get rid of these toxins. And that's the main reason to do this. It's not to lose weight. The weight loss is a secondary benefit of this. You know, it's a pretty dramatic one, right? But the thing is that no regular diet, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, cortisone, lose weight for your blood type, I don't care what it is, never have they found it to remove even a gram of a toxin from the body until now. You understand you could change the whole rest of your life in a week? Because you'd be so motivated. Imagine if you stood on the scale after 7 days and you had lost, I just had a lady today, and she needs to lose maybe 30, 40 pounds. She'd been on it for 4 days. She lost 4 pounds in 4 days. I asked her, when's the last time you lost 4 pounds? She said, it took me 30 days. She did it in 4 days. What do you want to do? You want to keep counting calories? You want to do paleo or keto or Mediterranean? None of them work long term. As I told you in study after study after study, I mean, that's what they, let me find it. It's over here. I knew the study was here somewhere. Let me read to you from this other study. Why you shouldn't count calories. Again, not my opinion. Reading from the studies. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse is 2/3 of the people studied gained back more weight than they lost. Okay? Now let's go to 80 weight loss clinical trials. 80 of them. The researchers looked at various forms of calorie reduction diets, and this is what they concluded. 1, people on calorie reductive diets lost weight initially. Notice the language, but. The but is everything. But every person's weight steadily rose back to where it was before. So you're going on a diet basically to at least go back to where you started or gain more weight than you lost. Why is this? Why is calorie counting so bad? Here's why. Again, medical proof, not my opinion. The biggest failing of the calories in, calories out formula is it ignores that the body adjusts its control system when calorie intake is reduced. So while the calories in, calories out formula can support people achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures the lost weight will be regained. That's why calorie counting is ridiculous. It doesn't work because the only thing your body cares about is nutrition. And if you try and do it with regular food, even if it's organic from this country, our food in this country is all but nutritionally bankrupt. They did a study on spinach, Cornell University, 1953 to today, measured iron levels in spinach. They've decreased in that time frame by 4,300%. Let me know how that eating helps. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. This is really serious. What we teach you is how to be healthy and wealthy for the rest of your lives, the wealth coming from your health. I mean, seriously, anybody love to put a comment in there? Lots of Razor Dan, Doo, Brown, Aloha, Lee, Danny, Pop 67, Miriam Little. Look, the easiest, the simplest thing for you to do, I don't want you to believe me. All the medical proof is on the website right above my head. You can see it there, I think. The New Health Conversation. It's a free website. There's nothing to buy there. There's nothing to see. If you go to that website, we won't contact you. We don't do that. We don't need to do it, period. We let the science do the talking. If you go there, I wish you would, look at everything and then decide, do you want us to get a free consultation with one of our coaches? What's different, we don't just do the consultation with you for free. They coach you the whole time through to get you to your goal. So goal number one is to get you what we have people who want to gain weight. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady that's 91. We have an 80-year-old. We have a man with a heart transplant, people with no thyroids, people with kidney transplants. So we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or make any medical proclamations whatsoever. But are you really serious or not? Or do you want to listen? I mean, you're welcome to do it. You're doing it already. You're watching these influences. You're seeing TV commercials on Go Low and all these things. They don't work. They don't work long term. I mean, maybe 1 in a million people, maybe. But this is proven. All those things are just stories. They don't have any proof. None. Zero proof. These researchers, they have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies in the biggest medical journals in the world. And the main thing about this, although the weight loss is extraordinary, unbelievable, crazy, it's the last reason you want to do this. You want to be as healthy as you possibly can, I would hope. Isn't your health your wealth? Am I misspeaking? Does everybody get this? So let's see. Qtez, Lawrence. For some reason, we're having computer problems, and I don't understand why that is. But again, I'll try and overcome it if I can here. Let me just see what's going on. So does everybody understand that it basically comes down to this? If you want your body to be as fit and thin and healthy as possible, you have to solve the dilemma between getting enough nutrition or getting nutrition, period, in the least amount of food possible. It'd be like if you went to the gas station today and pump number 1 says this gallon will take you 20 miles. Pump number 2 says this gallon will take you 100 miles. Which one would you choose? If it was about nutrition and you asked your body, we got 2 choices here. Binder number 1 is, we'll use gasoline, 20 miles to the gallon. Or this one here, you get 100 miles to the gallon. What do you think your body would choose? I understand you're all skeptical. I do this all the time. I know that's the big thing that people get so wound up because of the fact that they're so desperate to lose weight. They want to believe these influencers that don't have one shred of evidence. And I'm talking about medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and fitness people and weight loss coaches and health coaches. I'm not going to disparage them. But how can they support that? In 1964, 15% of America overweight and obese, and in 2024, we're at 80% overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. Does that sound to you like this is working, or is it just me? I mean, people are so desperate to lose weight that they just, they basically will believe this stuff with no proof because they're so desperate to lose weight. I understand. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. I loved her. She was awesome. And 24 years ago, she called me up one day, a phone call I'll never forget. Said, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything to spend 24 hours thin. Darn, I don't know what's going on here, folks. I'm sorry. Bear with me. I've got to fix this camera. For some reason, we're having internet problems here. Come on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I don't know if I finished. So my mom called me up 24 years ago and said, I have one wish in my life. I said, what's up, Mom? She said, I'd give anything if I could spend a day thin. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom did about every diet that there was 24 years ago, from the grapefruit diet to the cabbage soup diet to Atkins to OptiFast to Weight Watchers, you name it. I'd see her lose 20 pounds, gain 25 back, lose 25, gain 30. I believe she dieted herself to death. I can't prove that, but now knowing what I know now, I'd say yes. So I'm very sensitive to this. I saw the fat shaming. I lived with it. I grew up with it. But all I can do is make you aware of my 23 years of research. That's not my research, it's other people's research. But I did write 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the world. I did discover, and am credited with discovering, this medical syndrome, which every person in the world has, called TDOS, toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. But I'm trying to prevent you from, there's no doubt, we told you, you're going to go on any diet, you're going to lose weight, but you're doing something to yourself. You're making yourself unhealthy. Losing lean muscle mass, slowing down metabolism, and interfering with your own immune system? Really? Really? Did you know that's what you're doing? Because you are. Somebody has to tell you. Somebody has to be the canary in the coal mine. Someone has to have the courage and the guts to stand up against the establishment. I'm against the whole damn internet and more. And I get tremendous pushback. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's a sales gimmick. What sales gimmick when we're giving you access to the 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies that nobody else has, by the way? We coach for free. You don't buy anything from us or the researchers. Sales gimmick. Are you serious about changing your health or not? Or do you want to do paleo or keto or Mediterranean or time-restricted eating or Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or Nutrisystem or Cornish or Zone or lose weight for your blood type, on and on and on and on and on. None of them work, ladies. Not because I said so. All these studies, that's what they're saying. You know, why you shouldn't count calories, what counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term. The approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. Why would I tell you that? Right? It makes no sense. We offer you a real solution. We didn't create it, but we teach you about it. I mean, listen, would any of you, look at this. 21 pounds in a month and 38 inches. Look at the transformation in the body with no exercise. She only had about 35 pounds to lose. She loses 21 pounds in 30 days. Or this lady in 5 weeks. Look at the difference in her body composition. Neck, arms, stomach, legs. I know it looks like a different person. It's not. It's exactly the same person. Or let's go to Andy. How about Andy? 45.3 pounds, 60 inches in a month. And again, look at his A1C down near the bottom. It went from 7.9 to 6.2. Hopefully you can read that. But look at his LDL cholesterol at the top. It was 120 when he started. 30 days later, it was down to 59. There's nothing like this. There's nothing to compete with it. The medical studies have shut down all the discussion about calories in, calories out. They're the researchers who did 40 years of research on calories in, calories out, 100 studies, thousands of people. And they came to the conclusion diets are an absolute abject failure. They couldn't figure out why. Now they know. It was right in front of their eyes the whole time. The reason a diet can't work is because the only thing your body cares about is nutrition. It does not care about, oh my gosh, my computer's dying. Give me one second here. Maybe that's why it was acting up. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Maybe that's why I was having problems, because my battery was dying. As long as I'm not, that's all that counts. No, really, if we could just have a civil discussion and you would just listen for a minute or two. The reason diets can't work is because when you lower the amount of food you're consuming, which is what every diet is, you lower nutrition. When you lower nutrition, the brain figures out there's not enough fuel to run our organs, to keep us alive. You got to understand, when you go on a diet, Your body, it's in survival mode. It stops you from burning fat and converts your muscles into fuel, but that's so inefficient, it has to slow down your metabolism. That's why you plateau on these diets. That's why you come off the diets and you gain everything back. That's why also it lowers your immune system. Now, if you don't believe me, I did write a pretty incredible book, if I do say so myself, called Your Third Brain. It's not a trick title. No books for sale on my website. Don't go down there. But essentially what my colleague, who's one of the top oncologists in the world and a molecular biologist, and worked with two men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine, he told me the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody that has cancer is they lose weight, because most of what they're losing is their lean muscle mass. And when that happens, it interferes, it makes their immune system less efficient. That'd be a good way to say it. Well, you're lowering your immune system. I mean, thank God you don't have cancer. But just in general, you're lowering your immune system. You are. That's what's going on. It's not. I'm not making this. This is the medical proof is there. You really, after this podcast, you really still want to do paleo or keto or carnivore or Mediterranean or whatever? They all work until they don't. We're not even against the carnivore diet, but we do carnivore in conjunction with the world's most perfect meals, because meat gives you certain things. But it doesn't give you like 70 trace minerals. It doesn't give you 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. It doesn't give you natural vitamins. There's so much more to human physiology and maximizing your quality of life potential. We're not opposed to the carnivore diet, but we said it's it's giving you about 30% of what you need if you want to optimize. Don't you want to live your highest level? Are you willing to settle for where you are now? Really? Are you? I hope not. You just don't know what to do. Not that you're not smart, but you got to understand the reason we created that website for you, the New Health Conversation. So you can go and see medical proof, not opinions. Don't believe Peter Greenlaw. I'm serious. I don't want you to believe me. It's not our point. Let's go with the world's top weight loss, nutrition, physiologist in the world who created this and did 100 studies, thousands of people over 40 years, proved that dieting, it doesn't matter what the name of the diet is, it doesn't work. There's just so much that's going on here that's just crazy. It's totally crazy. I mean, what's happening to all of us is that we're being really misled. Can you show me anybody, put in the chat if you want, show me anybody on social media with one shred of medical evidence? Don't tell me they have a scientific paper. That doesn't matter. Don't tell me it's doctor recommended. That doesn't matter. Unless they have peer-reviewed human trial studies on human beings, not mice, not rats, not chimpanzees. It doesn't mean anything in the medical world. It's all nonsense. And here's the thing to ask yourself. If any of these people, if what they were talking about was that good, they'd want to have peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. They prove this. You can lose as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet. The lady today, she lost 4 pounds in 4 days. She said a month ago, it took her a month to lose 4 pounds. You know that old thing about a pound a week? Well, there you go. She lost it in 4 days, not 4 weeks. I mean, what I find, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised, that the number of people that actually go to the website and sign up for, it's a free a free consultation with one of our coaches. They're not going to sell you. They're not going to convince you. And then they'll coach you the whole time for free because you've never done anything like this before. So it's not just what you're going to be consuming. It's how you're consuming, when you consume it, what are the quantities, etc. I know you're all skeptical. I get it. Hi, Mr. S. Hello, Daniel, Kimberly, Chosen, Ted, Bertucana, Daniel, and Reynolds, KD. I'd love for any of you to, I feel like maybe I'm not doing a good job here. No one's asked me any questions. The bottom line is, wait till you, this is the daughter of a friend of mine who's a realtor friend of mine. Wait till you see this one. Okay, that's 3 months, 60 pounds. Look at the difference in her body. Now that one does look like it's a different person. It's absolutely, her Her name's Sahara. It's absolutely the same person. Where's the loose skin around the waist? Where's all that? Look at her arms. See, I know that you're going through your head. That's Photoshop. It's fake. It's not real. I know, because you're now let's go and let's take a look at an athlete just to show you that it's not about weight loss. Look at this, day one, good shape. 4 days later, 11 days later, look at that transformation. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? I'm only laughing. I'm laughing with joy because the fact that I really hope that I'm getting through to some of you. Look, you can go to the website. We're not even going to contact you. It's a free medical website. Who's giving you that kind of access? I see people that want to, buy our app and we'll send you 200 recipes and then you'll get a coach. Red flag immediately. Recipes? Go to Martha Stewart if you want recipes, or Betty Crocker. That's just the absurdity of what's going on. I mean, it's the weekend, right? So go to Walmart, go to Kmart, go to Sam's Club, go to the mall. Or look at a picture from 1970 of people on the beach. Then look at a picture in 2024 of people on the beach. It's the sad state. Well, that's why 80% of Americans are overweight and 50% are obese and 50% are pre-diabetic. I'm still waiting for someone to put in the chat a diet that you think works long term. I'd love to know what it is. Because the researchers are saying none of them work long term. None. Maybe an anomaly. Maybe it's one person out of whatever. But why would you go on a diet to go through the agony only to gain all the weight back and more? And you're less healthy at the end of the diet than you were when you started, because when you lose lean muscle mass, it not only slows down your metabolism, it slows down your own immune system. That's what I don't understand. And yet right there, the new health conversation, you can see where my finger's pointing. That's a free medical website. There's nothing there to buy. There's no books to buy. We won't contact you. Why wouldn't you go look at the medical proof with it? I'll tell you what's there. An interview with the number one nutrition weight loss physiologist in the world. I'm going to show all of you the website, just so you don't think I'm making this up. Hold on. Let me scroll down so I can show you here, hopefully. Because I know you're all skeptical, and you probably should be. Wow, yeah, there's a close-up of Andy. Wow, just crazy, right? Okay, let's go down here. Why isn't it going? Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the website. Those modules 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're video presentations, including an interview with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist. Do you see anything to buy there? There's nothing to buy there. We're not here to sell you or convince you. This is the medical proof that could change your life. Don't you owe it to yourself to at least go take a look when you have no threat of us calling you, coercing you, twisting your arm? I just find it sad that we're in a position, rightfully so. You've been scammed. You've seen so many scams. But what separates this from everything else out there is these peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. There's nothing higher. It's called irrefutable evidence, because it's been validated by third-party medical doctors and scientists. You know what they get paid to do for these big journals? To discredit what the people are proving. The journal never wants to be in a position where they do the analysis. That's why they're called peer-reviewed human trials. Peer-reviewed mean they send it out to other world-class experts. Now, they make a determination if your study's even worthy to send out, because they have to, they pay the doctors and whatever to do the analysis. It's not free. So you submit your work to them, and they decide if they're going to publish it. Then they don't do the final analysis. Otherwise, there'd be the inmates guarding the asylum. I mean, it wouldn't work. But let's see. Pinky joined from your shorts. Let's see, who else we got here? Amy, RJ joined, Daniel joined, Demon joined. Let's see. Honestly, everyone, I would love to enlighten you more. Does anybody have any questions? Do you want me to? What would you like me to explain more that I haven't already explained? that these researchers figured out how to get you to lose weight safely in a week that took 8 weeks, get you to lose weight in a month that took a year, lost no water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. And it was really a combination of food and 2 new ways of consuming food. That's a good way to say it, to simplify it, make it really simple. So for the new people coming on, what they did, these are the top weight loss researchers in the world for 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people. And they concluded that no diet out there has ever worked long term. And the major thing you lose on a diet is your lean muscle mass, which slows down your metabolism. That's why you plateau in a diet. You come off the diet, you gain everything back. I don't care what the diet is. That's the outcome every single time. And we have the medical proof to back it up. I'll repeat. Sorry for some of you that I'm repeating, but we got brand new people. So listen to this. Here's a study, 80 weight loss clinical trials, where the researchers looked at different forms of calorie reduction and found that anybody on a calorie reduction diet lost weight initially. Notice the language. But, the but is the key. Every person's weight steadily came back to where it was before or beyond. This is hundreds and hundreds of people. I mean, you could be mad at me. You could think paleo or keto or Mediterranean or time-restricted eating that's going to work long-term. None of them work long-term, as I read in that other big study where they said, let me find it here. I know I've got it somewhere. Oh, right here. This study, they said why you shouldn't count calories. They said, while counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to counter restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. These are not my opinions, ladies and gentlemen. And the thing about it is that you're going to be consuming food. 30% from your grocery store, you get a list that the researchers put together, organic, proteins, fats, carbs, salads, etc. But the other 70%, this is the key to make it work. These researchers found other researchers who had found food groups in Russia and Mongolia and Tibet in Nepal, South America, New Zealand, that represented huge amounts of nutrition, but not huge amounts of quantity. So those were the ingredients they gave to people in these studies. 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these foods around the world. Then they created 2 new ways of consuming food. Where do you hear this? 5 days a week, they made people have 4 meals a day. None of this 1 meal a day crap and all the stuff you've been taught. That's all nonsense. None of it works. You're doing real harm to your body. So they started the day with these 5 foods from around the world for breakfast, which the researchers call the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Okay? Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery list, a 4th meal, the world's most perfect meals. That's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not time-restricted eating. Those days, no food from the grocery store list, only these 5 foods from around the world 4 times a day. That was it. I know it sounds too simple, but it was a theory. You understand, they didn't know if it was going to work or not. They theorized it would. And after 7 days, when the people weighed and measured, men and women had lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. Women had lost a whole dress size in a week. Men lost 2 to 4 inches off their waist. No one was allowed to exercise. No exercise whatsoever. So the point is that, hold on here. The point is that this is way beyond just a diet. It's not even a diet. It's really a detox. As a matter of fact, that's the biggest thing about it. I was talking about that earlier, that you all, including me, all suffer from this medical syndrome called TDOS. T for toxicity, D for nutritional deficiency, O for being overweight, and S is stress. This is a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of a new medical syndrome. Yeah, I did discover it, but that's not the important point. The point is that we're now drinking, breathing, eating chemicals. Did you all see the thing on the microplastics last week? They're finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. How much more do we have to know? We're ingesting herbicides and pesticides and Scotch Guard and Teflon and flame retardants and on and on and on. The average adult on this call, you have about 1,000 chemicals embedded in what's called your visceral fat. The visceral fat's the fat around the organs. That's why people complain it's not just how much overweight they are, but how much loose skin they actually have. I mean, again, you can do whatever diet you want. You can believe all these people. They're nice, seem like nice people. I'm not going to disparage them. But what if everything you're being taught, which is true, is 100% wrong? It has nothing to do with calories in, calories out math equation. Nonsense. Total nonsense. And here's the medical proof about this calories in, calories out thing. They said, One of the big studies, the biggest failing of the calories in, calories out diet formula is it ignores that the body adjusts its control systems when calorie intake is reduced. So while the calories in, calories out formula can support people achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures the lost weight is regained. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to regain all the weight by counting calories because you've ignored nutrition. Your body goes in starvation mode, uses your muscles for fuel, slowing down your metabolism. There you go. Am I getting through to any of you? Do you get this? Do you? I just feel so sad. Like I said earlier, my own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. And 24 years ago, she called me up and said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I'd give anything if I could just spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom did about every diet there was, from the Optifast to, Jenny Craig, to Weight Watchers, to the cabbage soup diet, to the grapefruit diet. I'd see her lose 20 pounds and gain 25 back. Now I know what was going on. Of course, I didn't even know any of that those many years ago. You're welcome to do whatever you want to do. You can count calories. You can believe all the fancy, they're drawn on whiteboards and they're writing people's names down and they got credentials, but they got no proof. That's the thing I want to get across to all of you. The website shows you the irrefutable medical proof, A, that it's safe, and B, that this is real. I mean, I don't know what more we could do than that. Is that not enough for you? And then we don't even contact you. But the medical science, the proof, if you like what you see, then sign up for free consultation, not just for the consultation, but you'll get a coach for the whole time free to teach you what? How to get the weight off, and then show you how to keep it off for the rest of your life. That's why the researchers call this R2M, race to maintenance. The only reason to do it is it's not a question, are you going to lose the weight? That's a joke. It's about maintaining. These studies, these pictures you're looking at were from like 8 years ago. So it's not just that she lost that weight, she's kept it off for 8 years. Or this lady. Or how about Andy? 45.3 pounds, 60 inches. Look at his A1C from 7.9 to 6.2, and LDL cholesterol went from 120, you can see it there, to 59. That's in 30 days, not 30 weeks. What diet do you think you're on that could ever match any of this? None, zero, never. These researchers did 100 studies on all these diets. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis, muscle analysis, liver enzymes, etc. They never saw results like this, but they never had anybody do anything like this before either. Because every diet out there, hopefully you agree with me, is just a form of lowering the amount of food you're consuming, but they never tell you the Achilles heel of all that in food is what? Nutrition. How does it not seem logical? You're reducing the amount of food, you're reducing the amount of nutrition. Well, because your body has a minimum amount of nutrition it runs on, when you do that and the brain figures it out, what does it do? It shuts down fat burning and turns to your muscles for fuel. That's what you're doing to yourself. I mean, like they said in the studies that, this one, 80 clinical studies where they did various forms of calorie reduction diets where people lost weight initially, but every person's weight steadily rose back to where it was. That's 80 weight loss trials. So like 10, 15, 20,000 people. It's not some little sample. I mean, when Harvard Medical School is saying stop counting calories, do you think you should listen? Because they said, most people have been taught that losing weight, this is Harvard, most people have been taught that losing weight is a simple math equation. You hear people on social media telling you it's just a math equation. Really? Cut calories, 3,500, you'll lose about a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. That's Harvard Medical School. Again, you can believe these influences. They have no evidence. We'd love to be able to help you, but you got to help yourself first. You know what they say in the airplane? Put your mask on first. Well, that's kind of what. So step number one, if you want, is go and look at the medical proof. You don't have to put up with me. You don't have to look at me anymore. It doesn't matter if you like me, dislike me, you don't like my tie. It doesn't matter. Science doesn't care. Science has no emotions unlike me. It has no agenda. It certainly has no prejudice. It just is. But you're accepting opinions over medical facts. Would you want to take a drug that hadn't gone through peer-reviewed human trial studies? I sure as heck hope not, because they even make mistakes when they do that. But it's the highest scrutiny available in the world. There's nothing higher than a peer-reviewed human trial study on human beings. We've got 10 of them. 10! Not my studies, by the way, the researchers. So, Lifestyle King, visit, cool. Huh. Paulina, thank you. Visit the website. No eating one time a day, isn't it? Oh my gosh, eating one time a day. Can I explain to you why that's so terrible? And if you don't mind, I think it's Nita. I thought fasting was good for you. Nita, okay, let me explain something to you. Are you doing normal fasting, or are you doing this thing where you, please tell me, because I want to give you accurate information, where you're eating 8 hours a day and you're fasting 16 hours a day. So please put that in the chat, just because I want to give you medical proof, and you'll see how harmful what you're doing is. But before I do that, I want to make sure I'm understanding exactly what you're talking about. So are you talking about time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 6, so you stop eating basic at 8 o'clock at night, you don't eat until noon the next day? So please put it in the chat so that I can zero in on this for you, because I've got 2 huge medical studies basically on this time-restricted eating, which is fasting in a sense, okay? So, Nita, I'm still waiting for you to put that in there for me, please. So again, here's the problem with all of this, okay? Whether it's fasting, counting calories, portion sizes, whatever, the body doesn't care about any of that. Nita, what your body cares about is, does it have enough nutrition 24/7 to run all the organs in the body? For example, when you went to sleep last night, the battery's running low. Okay. Wow, what am I doing today? Oh, I didn't have it plugged in. Sorry, everybody. Hold on. I want to answer Nita's question here. It's very important. So, let's see. So what happens in the body, it has a certain amount of fuel that it needs, but it doesn't need it for an hour or 6 hours or 8 hours. It needs it 24 hours a day. What people don't understand, that every night when we go to sleep, as long as we don't eat too late, once we go to sleep, the body slows down digestion. And when that happens, the body automatically begins to detox. It's a fancy word. It's called autophagy, when the body's getting rid of the dead cells. But in the process when you're sleeping, for example, it's the only time we produce growth hormone in the body. Also, it takes tremendous amounts of fuel, nutrition, to run those processes. So for example, when you wake up in the morning, you're bankrupt of nutrition. If you wait until noon to eat and have a cup of coffee for breakfast, you are doing massive harm to your body. I'm going to prove it to you in just a moment. So anyway, I want to read to you now from the 2 big studies that were done on this time-restricted eating, where you're fasting 16 hours a day. Again, I'm assuming that's what you're doing because you're having one meal. But let's look at the medical evidence, not an opinion on my part. So this is in the Journal of the American Medical Association. New research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds. And most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. Again, you're going to lose lean muscle mass doing what you're doing. It's going to slow down your metabolism. You're going to come off that crazy fast. You're going to gain everything back, and you've slowed down your own immune system. Now let's go to the second big study on this time-restricted eating. This one done in the Annals of Internal Medicine in March of 24, about 11 months ago. Listen to what they said. They had 2 groups of people. One group did this time-restricted eating, 1 meal a day. The other one just lowered calories. At 12 weeks, those doing the time-restricted eating lost in 3 months 4.6 pounds. The people who did just calorie reduction lost 5.2 pounds, and they said in the study that any suggestion that time-restricted eating on weight in prior studies was due to anything other than reductions in calorie intake, not the timing of when people ate. Medical proof. Time-restricted eating is one of the most, do you know the first studies ever done when they let people do, done on mice and rats? They didn't have human trials until now. All the people that jumped on the bandwagon of this time-restricted, people at University of California, Santa Barbara, etc.,